This slow thought movement is about you and it's about me. That's it. It's a very personal journey. Those of you who have met me in person, those of you who maybe follow my videos, I think by now you know that I'm not the type of person to tell other people what to think. In fact, if anything, that goes against the basic philosophy of this entire movement. It's about reclaiming your own thoughts. Getting in tune with who you are. It's not about defining a higher self and a lower self, of trying to climb these endless ladders towards some destination that's forever evasive, that forever keeps, it's a moving target, isn't it? For those of you who have spent years, and I'm guilty, I've spent years trying to reach targets like enlightenment, nirvana, peace, and the truth is, at least for me, I could say, and for a lot of people that I've encountered when we're really honest about it, is that the more you learn, the more there is to learn. And when you get caught in thinking that there's a destination to reach, in the sense that when you get somewhere you're going to feel better about who you are, you really condemn yourself to an endless struggle and conflict with yourself, because you just don't feel good enough no matter where you are. So going back to my point right from the beginning, is that this movement is about you, and it's always been about returning and getting in touch with what's vital for you, what's real for you, outside of what we've been taught to think and told what we need to be or how we need to behave. And it's kind of allowing ourselves to let go, at least for a moment or for some time or practice, and kind of open ourselves up to getting in touch with our own selves, which is often something that we don't have a chance to get in touch with. And I start this whole discussion of the law of attraction with this introduction because I think it helps set the stage for what I'm about to say. First of all, I think we are attracting things in our life all the time. We are magnets. There's no doubt about that. And I'm not here to say that attempting to get what you want in life is negative. By all means, I think it's natural for us to chase after what we want in life and what we think we want. What my job, or what I feel compelled to do, which is kind of my calling in life, is to, one of my big missions is to push my own self to reach my higher potential. And again, that's endless, but to keep pushing the limits for myself. And likewise to share that with other people in the hopes that maybe just a little of what I've said may be helpful in your own journey. So it's all about reaching, greater potential. And so I tend to do what the things that I do in my own personal practice. I just tend to share and offer that for your reflection. So in particular, it always comes down to being aware of certain things for me. And I think what happens is that a lot of the time in our culture today, our mainstream culture, is we focus on what we want. And we take it for granted. We take our desires for granted at face value. And that's the first thing I want to caution around all this, is that law of attraction kind of preaches that, what you think you want, if you think about it and you believe in it and you have faith in it, you will achieve it. And you know what? This stuff may work for certain people. There's certain reasons why it doesn't work for most of us. And it's because first of all, what you consciously think you want, what you believe, what you're aware of on a conscious level, is not the whole picture. I've used the expression, it's just the tip of the iceberg. What you think you are is not who you are. And so a lot of our desires, again, they come borrowed, what I call fast thought. Again, not to condemn it, but they come borrowed from other people. A lot of people, you walk on the street and go, what do you want? I want $1 million. Why? Well, what are you going to do with $1 million? I don't know, I just want $1 million. We have these goals that are almost ready-made, like fast food. You just order them, pick them up. They're prepared by someone else, and they're just ready-made ideas of, we all want to be famous, we all want to be known, we all want to, have a lot of money, and they all may be connected to valid things in our life, valid struggles in our life, but they're not necessarily coming from deep within ourselves. They lack that vitality. And hence, it's hard to achieve something that's not real, that's not truly, coming from within you, coming from deep within your core. Something that's superficial tends to invite a superficial, what do you call it, a superficial follow through, a weak action plan, or a weak execution is more what I wanted to say, is that we tend to be weak on the execution front because we're not strong in terms of what our real desires are. So that's a whole different discussion. We'll shelve that for another time, but how to get in tune with our actual real desires. But what we do is we take the desires that we have and we just take them for face value and say, I just want this. Not necessarily understanding where these desires come from. And this leads to my next point, is that a lot of them come from compensations. Okay, compensations is a more of a psychological term, but what I mean by that is they are means that we use to alleviate, to lessen the tension that we have in our life, to make ourselves, to get out of the discomfort that we're in, because we don't want to feel uncomfortable, we don't want to feel afraid, we don't want to feel frustrated, we don't want to feel less about who we are, we don't want to feel necessarily vulnerable. And so to step away from those feelings, we believe if we achieve certain things in our life, we tend to externalize them and say, if I achieve this outcome, if I become this, or if I have this, then I'm going to feel better about who I am. For those of you who follow my work with Satyam, where I co-authored the book Born on the Mountaintop, I'm pretty much an expert on all of that stuff, of those unconscious and conscious ways that we tend to believe that if we become this and we do this and we get there, we're going to feel better about who we are. And of course, it never happens. We feel brief highs and low, and consequently long periods of lows because of these types of patterns occurring in our mind, which we've coined as the life addictions. So